Bro, they really thought they finished you, didn't they? They sat around in their little circles, pointed their fingers, and painted this whole masterpiece of a lie where you were the monster. They took your boundaries and called them arrogance. They took your distance and called it betrayal. They took your absolute silence and used it to write a script where they were the innocent victims and you were the ultimate villain. And the craziest part of it all, for a split second, you almost believed them. You almost let their delusion become your reality. You almost lost sleep trying to figure out how people you actually cared about, people you bled for, could twist reality so badly just to make themselves look good. You wanted to scream. You wanted to post the screenshots, drop the receipts, and expose their lies to the whole world. You wanted to clear your name, but you didn't. You stayed completely silent. You took the label they gave you, and let me tell you something right now. That was the most dangerous, most powerful thing you could have ever done. Because while they were busy making you the villain in their little high school drama, you were busy becoming the hero of your own empire. Today, we're talking about why you should let them hate you, and how their fake stories are about to become the foundation of your biggest level up in life. Let's break down the dark psychology of what's actually happening here. Why do they need you to be the bad guy? It's simple, bro. Accountability feels like a violent attack to an unevolved mind. If they admit that they pushed you away, if they admit that their toxic behavior is what made you leave, they have to look in the mirror and face their own demons. And trust me, they are absolutely terrified of their own reflection. So, what is their defense mechanism? They create a villain. If you're the villain, they don't have to do the inner work. If you're the monster, they get all the sympathy, all the attention, and all the validation they are starving for. They run to anyone who will listen, telling half-truths, conveniently leaving out the parts where they disrespected you, crossed your boundaries, and forced your hand. They need this narrative to survive, because without it, they would have to admit that they are the architect of their own miserable reality. And here is exactly where most people fail. The moment you hear these lies being spread about you, your ego kicks in. Your pride flares up. You want to defend yourself. You want to argue. You want to pull them into a room and demand the truth. But dark psychology 101 dictates this universal rule. The moment you defend yourself against a lie, you give that lie power. You validate their delusion. By fighting back, you prove to them that they still have access to your emotions. They want you angry. They want you chaotic. They want you to look crazy. Because when you react with anger, it makes their fake story look incredibly real to the outside world. They can point at your anger and say, "Look, I told you they were crazy." But when you give them absolutely nothing, when you just look at them with dead, unbothered eyes and walk away, you literally short-circuit their brain. They don't know what to do with your silence. They planned for a war, but you didn't even show up to the battlefield. When you don't give them a reaction, they start fighting themselves. They start wondering if you know something they don't. Their own lies start making them paranoid, so they want you to be the villain. Fine, be the villain, but not the kind of villain that seeks petty revenge. Be the kind of villain that is completely, absolutely, and terrifyingly unreachable. Enter the ghost protocol. They fully expect you to be watching their stories from fake accounts. They expect you to be asking mutual friends about them, trying to see if they feel guilty. But you're going to pull the plug entirely. You disappear. You become a phantom. You stop explaining your side of the story to anyone. If someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, did you hear what they said about you?" you just smile, look them dead in the eyes, and calmly say, "I don't care." Bro, do you have any idea how much sheer power is contained in the words, "I don't care"? It is the ultimate shield. It shows that their opinions don't even register on your radar anymore. You are playing in a totally different league. A lion does not lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. And a king does not step off his throne to argue with a clown. The universe isolated you from these people for a reason. It removed them from your life because your next chapter requires a level of focus that their drama would never allow. You take all that anger, all that frustration, all that heavy, dark energy from their betrayal, and you don't throw it at them. That's a waste of perfectly good fuel. You throw it into the gym. You throw it into your bank account. You throw it into your mindset. You wake up earlier. You lift heavier. You read more. You speak less. You start vibrating at a frequency they can't even comprehend. You undergo an alchemy of the soul, turning their toxic garbage into pure gold. While they are wasting hours of their life sitting in coffee shops talking about you, you are spending those exact same hours building a life they will never ever be invited to. Let them have the gossip. You keep the growth, let them have the cheap attention. You keep the execution, fast forward. 6 months, maybe a year. Here is the sick, twisted truth about human nature. The exact same people who talk the most trash about you, the ones who swore they hated you, are the ones stalking your pages the hardest. They are secretly obsessed with you. They thought their smear campaign was going to break you. They thought you were going to be depressed, isolated, and begging for a second chance to be in their circle. But then they check up on you, and what do they see? They see a monster, but not the fragile little monster they invented in their heads. They see an absolute beast who has leveled up in every single category of human existence. They see you looking healthier. They see your confidence radiating. They see you making massive moves. They see you surrounded by higher quality people who actually respect you. And suddenly, the deep, cold panic sets in. The narrative they built starts falling apart at the seams. The people they lied to start looking at you, and then looking back at them, realizing the math just isn't mathing, because a truly toxic person doesn't thrive in absolute silence. A broken person doesn't build an empire. Your massive success is literally exposing their lies without you ever having to open your mouth to say a single word. You didn't just survive their pathetic attempt to ruin you. You used their hate as fertilizer to grow. You used their stones to build your castle. You starved their ego and fed your own future. They wanted you to stay at the bottom with them. But your refusal to play their game catapulted you to the top. You didn't become the hero by reaching down into the mud to pull them up. You tried that. You bled for them. But you realized that some people are absolutely in love with the dirt. They don't want to be saved, they just want company in their misery. So you became the hero the moment you finally cut the rope. You became the hero by saving yourself from their toxic, low-vibrational game. You walked away from the burning building instead of trying to put out a fire they started on purpose. For the longest time, your ego wanted to win the argument. Let's be real, bro. You had the screenshots saved. You had the timelines memorized. You spent hours in your own head, having imaginary arguments in the shower, putting together the perfect sequence of words that would finally make them understand. You wanted to sit them down, look them dead in the eyes, lay out all the cold, hard facts, and literally force them to see the truth. You wanted that moment where they finally broke down and admitted they were wrong. But then, something shifted. You finally woke up from that exhausting, low vibrational cycle. You looked at the situation and realized that fighting for your reality was draining your actual life force. You finally realized that your absolute untouchable peace of mind is worth infinitely more than being right. In the eyes of people who are completely, stubbornly committed to misunderstanding you. Why? Because misunderstanding you is their survival mechanism. If they actually understood you, they would have to take accountability for how they treated you, and they are absolutely terrified of accountability. So ask yourself this: why are you trying to explain the massive depth of the ocean to people who are comfortably, happily drowning in a single glass of water? You are speaking a language of growth, logic, and respect, and they only know how to speak the language of drama, victimhood, and chaos. It's a total waste of breath. It's like trying to teach a brick wall how to read. They don't want the truth because the truth destroys the fake reality they built for themselves. What they actually want is a punching bag. They want an emotional dumpster where they can safely unload all their insecurities, all their failures, and all their toxic traits without ever being challenged. They needed you to stay weak so they could feel strong. But the exact second you realized your worth, you permanently resigned from that position. You didn't argue. You didn't give a 2 weeks notice. You quit on the spot. You packed up your energy, took your focus completely off their circus, and walked out the front door without ever looking back. Society tells you that you need a final conversation. They tell you that you need closure to heal. Bro, listen to me. You realize that closure is an absolute scam. It's just another psychological trap to pull you back into their chaotic energy. The disrespect was the closure. The betrayal was the closure. You don't need a fake apology from someone who knew exactly what they were doing to you when they did it. And as for revenge, you realize that arguing is for the weak. The best, most devastating, most soul-crushing revenge is massive, undeniable, unapologetic success. Let them keep the false narrative. Seriously, hand it to them on a silver platter. Let them tell whatever fabricated, twisted story helps them sleep at night. If painting you as the ultimate bad guy is the only way they can live with their own toxic reflection, let them have it. Their delusion doesn't change your reality. A lion doesn't turn around when a dog barks, and you don't stop your grind just because a hater is whispering behind your back. Because here is the brutal, undeniable reality of their situation. While they are sitting around at the exact same tables, hopelessly trapped in the past, obsessing over a version of you that doesn't even exist anymore. You are already gone. That version of you they are so mad at, that person is dead. They died the day you realized your actual worth, so let them fight a ghost. Let them punch the air, because while they are exhausting themselves fighting a memory, you are out here dominating the future, building an empire that they will only ever get to look at from the outside. You are no longer the person they hurt. You are the person they can never touch again. They are still sitting at the same exact tables, having the same tired conversations, complaining about the same miserable things. And your name is being mentioned in rooms and circles they haven't even entered yet. You took the villain role they tried to force on you, and you completely flipped the script. So, the next time you hear that someone is dragging your name through the mud, just smile. It means you're doing something right. It means you're moving forward, and they are standing perfectly still. Don't look back. Don't correct them. Don't stoop to their level. Just keep leveling up. Keep building your empire in the dark, and let your massive shadow do all the talking. Stay cold. Stay completely focused. Shh.